Okay, guys, so this lab now, you've got this handout, okay, but this lab should now be appearing in classroom when you go in there. Okay, you don't need to be in there just yet. I want to just go over some things first. Okay, so the problem we're investigating in this particular lab is, okay, when substances are mixed, the chemical properties of each material determine whether a reaction will occur. So this lab is different from the first one in that the first one dealt with physical properties. There were no chemical changes involved. Okay, this time we're mixing stuff together to purposefully see if there will be a chemical reaction. In other words, a chemical change. All right. Now, what are some signs that that has happened if it happens? What are some things that should occur? There could be a change of state. So that means there could be a gas evolved, there could be a precipitate formed, okay? Something along those lines. Okay? What else? Color change. You're probably going to see a number of those, okay, when we do this lab. A number of the reactions we do will have color changes. Okay? What else? Temperature change, okay? There's going to be energy changes. So one of the things we have to do is when we mix the chemicals together, we got to have a thermometer in there, okay? Making sure that we measure the temperature, okay, as the reaction occurs and see if it goes up, down, or remains the same. Okay, so those are kind of the big ones. We're looking for precipitates being formed, bubbling and fizzing indicating a gas, okay, an odor, okay, because an odor also indicates that a gas could be formed even without bubbling and fizzing. Okay, we could be looking for precipitates. When precipitates happen, there are also often color changes associated with them. Okay, and then there could be color changes without the precipitates that we would be looking for. Okay, all of those things are obviously the signs of a chemical reaction. So what evidence do we have that a reaction takes place when substances are mixed? Right? So essentially what we're looking for here, the problem we're investigating is, what are the signs of a chemical change? Okay, I mean, if we were simplifying that, that's essentially what we're saying. Okay, what's your job when it comes to the problem? What do you have to do in your lab report for the problem? You have to restate it in your own words in, no, that's a separate part, in the form of a question. Okay, it's like Jeopardy. My own words in the form of a question. Okay, that's what I have to do with the problem. So essentially what we're saying here is, what are the signs of a chemical change? All right, design and variables. Manipulated, responding, controlled variables, and guys, this was the part that a lot of people forgot last time. Okay, detailed explanations as to why. Okay, each time, you can see here in the procedure, okay, that what we're doing is mixing different pairs of the materials from up here. All right, so each time we make a new pair, are we mixing different things? What do you think? In pair 1, it's A and B, but in pair 2, it's C and D. Okay, are any of these pairs the same? No. Okay, so every time we do this experiment, it's a different pair. Could that be something we might be manipulating? Okay, keep that in mind. All right, you got to explain to me, okay, why is this the manipulated variable? All right, what are we watching for? Right, we're looking for changes. We're looking for signs that what's happened. Right, we're looking for the signs that a reaction has occurred. Okay, what we want to see is for every one of these pairs at least one of the signs of a chemical change. Okay, every single one of these reactions, something happens. Okay, there are no reactions where nothing happens, because then it's not a reaction, and why would we do it? Okay, so for every one of these pairs, something's going to happen. We need to be watching for the signs of a chemical change. Could that be responding to the different pairs? Okay, not everybody wrote that down, but okay, yeah. Okay, when I give big juicy hints like that, you should really write them down. Okay, or listen to the podcast and repeat my big juicy hints over and over again. Yeah. Okay, we talked about that after the last lab report too. All right, controlled variables. Are the controlled variables for this experiment going to be similar to the first experiment? Yeah. Okay, a lot of the environmental things, those have got to be the same. Okay, like, are they all going to be the same temperature? Yeah, because they're all sitting in the lab right now. I made them up yesterday. Okay, I'm sure they will all be the same temperature tomorrow, because they're all the same temperature now. Okay, so they'll all be the same temperature tomorrow. Should we mix the same amount of everything? Yeah, or at least as close as we can, right? I mean, we're not going to like purposefully measure out every little bit, but we should make it close. Okay, things like that. Okay, tell me why do I have to make sure these things are controlled, and how many controlled variables do you need? 3. I've given you 2. You got to come up with one more. And remember that we explain each one. Okay, this is a controlled variable because it would have this effect on the experiment if it wasn't controlled. This is a controlled variable because it would have this effect. Everybody follow? Okay. In our hypothesis, what 3 words need to be in there? If, and then. All right. The if part deals with the problem. Okay? The problem is essentially, what are the signs of a chemical change? So could we say in the if part maybe what a chemical change is? Could we say that? Right? Because then in the then part, we could say what the signs are. Right? We could say if chemical change is this, and we do something, because that's what the and part does, then here's what we should see. Agreed? Okay? That's kind of how our hypothesis should flow. Tell me what a chemical change is or a chemical reaction is in the if part. Okay? So, if part, okay, we'll just write a little arrow down here. Okay, that's shorthand for chemical reaction. You guys will never need to use shorthand because you'll never actually have to write notes in university like we did. Okay? This is pre-laptop days. All right? Chemical reaction. All right, so tell me in the if part what's a chemical reaction. In the and part, you describe what? Right, you describe what you're doing, the experiment that is. Okay? Are we mixing some different things together? Okay, looking for different pairs, something like that. Mention something like that in the and part. Okay? And then in the then part, okay, talk about the signs of a change. Okay? Because if chemical reactions are this and we do this, then this is what we should see. Okay? Do you guys follow the logic there? Okay? That's how a hypothesis should always work. If this is true and I do this, then this is going to happen. Okay? That's how it should always run. Okay. For the initiating and planning, I think I already have the observations chart made for you, okay, in the file. So you won't have to do that, but you'll obviously have to fill it in. Maybe make a rough copy of it by hand for tomorrow. Okay, so that you have something to write your observations in tomorrow while we're in the lab, because we don't have the Chromebooks. Obviously, we don't take those into a lab where we're working with concentrated chemicals. Okay, so make sure you have something for tomorrow to write your data in. Okay, and then the procedure, it's written out for you. Okay, so you're just going to follow it. Okay, make sure you read it over so that tomorrow you know what you're doing. Okay? You're going to obtain 5 milliliter samples of each solution or 1 gram of each solid. I will show you tomorrow at the beginning of class how much that is, okay, when we go across to the lab. There'll be little eyedroppers in all of the liquids, in all of the solutions. Okay? There'll be a little eyedropper. You squeeze that eyedropper and fill it up as much as you can. That'll be as much as we need. Okay? For solids, I'll show you how much of the scupula you need to fill up in order to have the right amount of all the solids. So it'll be pretty straightforward. You just have to approximate what I do. Okay? Inspect each substance and record as many physical properties as you can. We need to know what they look like before we mix them so that we know if there was any change, right? If I don't record that they were both clear liquids before, then my results don't sound all that surprising when suddenly there's a yellow solid, okay, or something like that. All right, everyone follow me there? So record kind of a before and an after type of observations. Okay, that's about all we can do, okay, for today. So you got a little bit of time, not very much, okay, to work on problem, design, and hypothesis. Question, Elena? No, you don't have to do the procedure this time. All that's going to go in the procedure are your data and observations. Yeah. Okay, so you don't have to write it the procedure. It's done for you already. Okay. In fact, I think I copied and pasted it over into your template. All right, so yeah, you don't have to. It's less work. This one's less work. Okay, good news. All right, you got a few minutes. Let's use them.